Welcome back. Today we're exploring 25 facts that might change how you see the world around you. Some will surprise you, others might make you think twice about things you've always taken for granted. Ready? Let's begin. First up, honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. The secret is its low moisture content and natural acidity, which create an environment where bacteria simply cannot survive. So that jar in your pantry is practically immortal. Next, the shortest war in recorded history lasted only 38 minutes. It happened between Britain and Zanzibar on August 27, 1896. After the Sultan of Zanzibar refused to step down, British warships began bombarding his palace. He surrendered almost immediately, ending the conflict in less time than it takes to watch a TV show. Fact number 3. Your nose is a super sniffer. It can remember 50,000 different scents. This is because your sense of smell is directly linked to the memory center of your brain. That's why a certain aroma, like baking cookies or a specific perfume, can instantly transport you back to a childhood memory. Here's a fruity paradox for you. Bananas are technically berries, but strawberries are not. In botanical terms, a berry is a fruit that comes from the ovary of a single flower and has its seeds embedded in the flesh. Bananas fit this definition perfectly. Strawberries, on the other hand, develop from a flower with multiple ovaries, which puts them in a different category altogether. Moving on, let's debunk a popular myth. The Great Wall of China is not visible from space with the naked eye. Astronauts who have been up there have confirmed this. The wall is incredibly long, but it's also quite narrow and has a color that blends in with the surrounding landscape, making it nearly impossible to spot from orbit. Have you ever felt like a day was dragging on? Well, try spending a day on Venus. A single day on Venus is actually longer than a year on Venus. It takes the planet 243 Earth days to rotate once on its axis, but only 225 Earth days to complete its orbit around the Sun. This makes it the slowest rotating planet in our solar system. Fact number 7 might make you feel like a superhero. The human body contains enough iron to forge a small nail. An average adult has about 3 to 4 grams of iron distributed throughout their blood and tissues. This iron is absolutely essential for carrying oxygen through your bloodstream. Now, let's talk about octopuses. These fascinating creatures have not 1, not 2, but 3 hearts. 2 of the hearts are dedicated to pumping blood through the gills, while the third one circulates blood to the rest of the body. Interestingly, when an octopus swims, that third heart stops beating. This is why they often prefer to crawl along the ocean floor. It's just less exhausting. Feeling chilly? It could be worse. The coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth was a mind-numbing -128.6 degrees Fahrenheit. This record was set at the Soviet Vostok Station in Antarctica on July 21, 1983. At that temperature, exposed skin would freeze in a matter of seconds. Here's a fact about your most powerful organ. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's total oxygen and energy. Even though it only makes up about 2% of your body weight, your brain is incredibly energy intensive. This is why a day of intense mental focus can leave you feeling just as drained as a hard workout. Think chess is complicated? You have no idea. There are more possible iterations of a game of chess than there are atoms in the observable universe. The number of potential chess positions is estimated to be greater than 10 to the power of 120. This incredible complexity is why chess has remained endlessly fascinating for centuries. Ever seen a group of flamingos? You've seen a flamboyance. That's the official term for them. And their famous pink color comes from the carotenoid pigments in the algae and crustaceans they eat. Flamingos born in captivity often appear white or pale pink unless their diet is supplemented with these pigments. Let's look at a famous landmark. The Eiffel Tower can actually grow more than 6 inches taller during the summer. The iron structure expands when heated by the sun, causing it to stretch upwards. This thermal expansion is completely normal and was accounted for in the original engineering design back in the 1880s. Here's a mind-bending historical fact. Cleopatra lived closer in time to the moon landing than she did to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. She lived around 30 BC, while the Great Pyramid was completed around 2560 BC. The moon landing was in 1969. This really puts into perspective just how ancient some of our historical monuments truly are. Do you love the smell of freshly cut grass? I have some news for you. That pleasant aroma is actually a plant distress signal. When grass is damaged, it releases chemical compounds into the air. These chemicals act as an alarm, warning other nearby plants of danger and even attracting predators of the grass-eating insects. So, what we perceive as a fresh, clean scent is actually a silent scream. Let's get down to earth. A single teaspoon of healthy soil contains more living organisms than there are people on the entire planet. We're talking billions of bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and nematodes. This microscopic ecosystem is absolutely essential for plant growth and for cycling nutrients through the environment. Get your walking shoes ready for this next one. The average person walks the equivalent of 3 times around the world in their lifetime. Based on typical daily step counts over an average lifespan, most people will walk approximately 75,000 miles. That's more than enough to circle the Earth at the equator 3 times over. Think clouds are light and fluffy. Think again. A typical cumulus cloud can weigh more than 1,000,000 pounds. That's because it is made up of hundreds of thousands of pounds of water droplets suspended in the air. So how do they float? The water is dispersed as tiny droplets that fall so slowly, the upward air currents keep them aloft. Here's a historical curiosity. The very first alarm clock could only ring at one specific time, 4 in the morning. It was invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787 for his own personal use, simply to wake him up for work. Adjustable alarm clocks that could be set for any time weren't patented until decades later. Ever burn your tongue on hot pizza? Don't worry, it's not a permanent problem. Your taste buds regenerate approximately every 10 to 14 days. This is why injuries to the tongue tend to heal relatively quickly, and why your sense of taste can return to normal after being affected by an illness or medication. The face of our planet is constantly changing. The Pacific Ocean is actually shrinking, while the Atlantic Ocean is expanding. This is due to the movement of tectonic plates. The Pacific is decreasing by about an inch per year. In roughly 200 million years, scientists predict the Atlantic may become the larger of the 2 oceans. Here's a powerful fact. A bolt of lightning is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Lightning can reach temperatures of about 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, while the sun's surface is a cool 10,000 degrees. This extreme, instantaneous heat is what causes the air to expand explosively, creating the bright flash and the sound of thunder. Let's talk about a case of mistaken identity. The fingerprints of koala bears are nearly indistinguishable from human fingerprints. Even when examined under a microscope, the patterns of ridges and whorls can be remarkably similar. This is a wild example of convergent evolution, as koalas are marsupials with no close relation to primates. This next fact sounds like science fiction. Water can boil and freeze at the same time. This strange phenomenon is called the triple point. It occurs at a very specific temperature and pressure where all 3 states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas can coexist in equilibrium. For water, this happens at just above freezing but under very low atmospheric pressure. And finally, our last fact is about a world record you wouldn't want to break. The longest hiccuping episode in history lasted for 68 years. An American man named Charles Osborne began hiccuping in 1922 and didn't stop until 1990. Despite hiccuping an estimated 430 million times, he managed to live a relatively normal life, even getting married and having children. And that brings us to the end of today's collection of facts. Perhaps 1 or 2 of these will stay with you and make you look at the world a little differently. Thank you for spending this time here. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. See you next time.